Okay, first, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to expose some of the early findings of my PhD research. Um, this talk centers on Egyptian Arabic, the variety of Arabic spoken in Egypt. It is based on two corpora. First, the file containing the version of each article in Wikipedia Mastery, the Egyptian Arabic edition of the online encyclopedia as of February the 1st, 2024. And second, a corpus of 40 works published in Egypt, from which the partially or fully digitized text has been extracted. Through searches of characters or strings within each corpus, various phenomena are quantified and analyzed. Yes, so like many languages, Arabic entangles its own writing system with foreign graphs. This phenomenon is particularly noticeable in colloquial Arabic, that is Egyptian Arabic, and one source of entanglement is cross-inference with neighboring languages, in this case, Persian. In Egypt, 3 letters derived from the Perso-Arabic alphabet are regularly present in the corpora. The Egyptians named them according to their iconic equivalents, Ba, Fa, and Gim, respectively, but with the added description Bitalat Noat, that is to say with 3 dots. They correspond to the letters that do exist in Egyptian Arabic that are with 1 dot only. So Ba with 3 dots and Fa with 3 dots correspond to the phonetic values that they have acquired in Arabic more generally, and are respectively the voiceless and the voiced equivalent of their iconic Arab cousins, Ba and Fa, 1 dot. As for Gim with 3 dots, it takes the phonemic place J of the 1 dot classic Jim, since the latter is pronounced G in Cairo. So the iconic relation thus seems to stem from a desire to maintain a link between the 2 sounds perceived as alternatives to one another, while ignoring the original phonemic value of Gim 3 dots in Persian, which is Ch. In Wikipedia Mastery, the Egyptian Arabic edition of this online encyclopedia, contributors are encouraged to use these letters to clarify pronunciation. Indeed, a survey of the occurrences of each of these graphs on Wikipedia Mastery and Wikipedia El Arabiya, the modern standard Arabic edition, shows that while the proportion of use is comparable for the Arabic Ba, Fa, and Gim, it reveals a significantly higher usage of their equivalents with 3 dots in the Egyptian Arabic edition. Wikipedia Mastery contrasts the conservative approach of Wikipedia Al Arabiya with its desire to reflect the actual pronunciation of words of foreign origin, even if it means expanding the range of graphs used in the language. Further evidence of the desire to use these alternative graphs is RaliBot, the bot created by Rali, the Wikipedian behind the Mastery Wikipedia project, whose automated interventions are the most numerous in this edition. For each of these graphs, it has programmed between 200 and 300 replacements, mostly of the classic graph with its Persian-derived alternatives. Classic and the Persian-derived alternative. Besides phonetic accuracy, there may also be a desire to visually differentiate this edition, which some consider a pale copy of Wikipedia Al Arabiya. Observation of the actual practices of contributors to Wikipedia Mastery shows that, apart from the replacements made by RaliBot, the use of Persian-derived graphs often remains in the minority. You have the majority is with 1 dot. So it therefore appears that the use of these alternative spellings is far from being a majority practice in Wikipedia Mastery, despite the official policy. In the corpus of 40 published works, 15 works contain at least one of the three graphs with three dots, representing a total of 474 occurrences. This is therefore a very rare phenomenon. The oldest of these works was published in 2013 with author Sherin Helal, explaining this timing by the fact that previously it was difficult to find these letters on Arabic keyboards, whereas now on mobile phones you simply need to press and hold the BAFA and GIB keys to get their equivalent with three dots. However, on a computer, this often involves taking the trouble to insert them as a special character in a word processor, or even to copy and paste them from a numeric keypad on the internet, unless writers switch from an Arabic keyboard to a Persian keyboard. Given the effort required, the use of these graphs demonstrates a genuine intention on the part of the authors. Egyptians use names of Persian origin with the sound j, the pronunciation of which has been kept in Egypt, while it is spelled with a GIM one dot or three dots alternatively. The choice of this graph in Egypt is thus dictated by its iconic link with GIM one dot, not by its Persian phonemic value, a subtle entanglement between exogenous and endogenous influences. However, GIM with three dots is mostly used in Egypt today to transcribe the sound je in names or loanwords of European and generally English origin. It is generally less used than its equivalent with one dot. The desire to contrast the pronunciation of je with that of ge is reflected in the writing of the verb engage. Here, it's represented here, which means to put one's arm in someone else's, from the French engager, and the use of the three dots allows for the distinction between the two sounds in writing the verb. But this graphic choice does not extend to the to transcribing this in the same way the alif and j in the actress's name that follows. And you have je here, but je with one dot, like fa with three dots is also used in Egyptian Arabic to transcribe the in names or loanwords of European language origin. An interesting case is that of the group of words derived from the English loanword over. One finds the adjective or adverb over, with the meaning of overly or excessive, the noun avoir, which is formed as the masdar or verbal noun of a quadrilateral verb, and the verb itself, the yavwaru, conjugated as a third person plural. This is a rare example of the use of a non-Arabic graph for the formation and conjugation of an Arabic verb. And in Wikipedia also lists the form to verb, yesayyev. He records he saves, derived from the English verb save, as well as hayetsayev and tasyiv, recording saving. Thus, the use of a fa with three dots in morphological paradigms entangles this graph even more in Arabic. 9 occurrences of ba with three dots are found in various published works where they transcribe p. They include loan words, a brand name, and the name of Giacomo Groppi, the founder of a famous cafe in downtown Cairo, whose logo and facade still display the three dots. The rarity of this graph in the corpus, if we exclude the author we will mention next, reflects the difficulty many Egyptians and Arabs in general have in pronouncing voiceless p. This sound in foreign loanwords being commonly pronounced b. The remaining 117 ba with three dots are used by Shihab el-Khashab, the author of El-Hahamma, a book aiming at the popularization of philosophy, sociology, etc. There, Shihab el-Khashab uses this graph for names, loanwords, or brand names, But the use of ba with three dots is also central to his chapter entitled Tamayuz, the distinction, according to the title from the book by sociologist Pierre Bourdieu. Shihab el-Khashab begins his chapter with the question, إيه الفرق بين البيبسي والبيبسي? What is the difference between Pepsi and Pepsi? Playing on the popular pronunciation of the cola brand name in the Arab world, which thus serves as a marker of social class. His use of ba with three dots allows him to represent in writing this example of social distinction based on speech patterns and implies that his readers will be able to assign this graph a value distinguishing it from ba one dot. By creating this minimal pair, whose distinction rests on difference in register and not in meaning, he contrastively establishes ba with three dots as a grapheme opposed to ba one dot. Yet, it is difficult to consider these graphs of Persian origin as Egyptian Arabic graphemes. Following the methodology of Marcin Michalski, as presented in his book Written Moroccan Arabic, A Study of Qualitative Orational Heterography, it is possible to establish graphemic relations between graphs and thus arrive at graphemes. The criterion he proposes is as follows. Two graphs are classified into one grapheme if and only if they are bound by free variation or asymmetrical variation in all possible positions, and the variation is not marginal. It is indeed possible to establish that each graph, Gim, Fa, and Ba with three dots, is linked to the one-dot graph, Gim, Fa, and Ba, respectively, by a variation, that is a substitution of one graph for another, in initial, medial, and final position. This is an asymmetrical variation because in all cases, the three-dot graphs can be replaced by one-dot graphs, but not the reverse. And it is not marginal in the sense that it is a regular occurrence. The proposed result is therefore a table of three graphemes, where for each, the one-dot graph is the basic allograph, and the three-dot graph is an auxiliary allograph. The entanglement between the Perso-Arabic alphabet and the Arabic alphabet does not mean yet that new graphemes have been adopted, even in a more receptive approach, which is that of Egyptian Arabic, and it is thus quite a loose relationship. Another phenomenon of entanglements is the use of words or phrases in Latin script within the Arabic text. In the corpus of 40 published works, compared to more than 6.8 million Arabic letters or ligatures, there are hardly 30,000 Latin letters, representing 0.4% of the total. The use of these Latin characters is therefore exceptional, but remains a rather conspicuous phenomenon as it implies a change of script. At first glance, the use of the Latin script within an Arabic text does not seem necessary, since loanwords can be transliterated into Arabic. This reflects the already well-documented phenomenon of code switching, which, according to Myers Cotton's definition, is the selection by bilinguals or multilinguals of forms from an embedded language or languages in utterances of a matrix language during the same conversation. In this case, the matrix language is Arabic and the embedded language is English or another European language. In writing, in addition to the already mentioned transliteration from English to Arabic, we observe in the corpus a phenomenon of script switching, which therefore implies the use of another visual code. The motivations are varied. In Wikipedia Masri, the meaning of the term, often a neologism, used as the article title, is regularly clarified at the beginning in Latin characters, often with the English equivalent. The imprecision of transliteration into an abjad writing system, which does not transcribe all vowels or hesitates on which ones to transcribe, makes recourse to the original script particularly useful to precisely identify the subject being treated. The reader is not expected to be able to read the embedded script, as it serves as a reference, merely reinforcing the understanding of what is already written in the matrix script. Still, it is all the more logical to assume that the Egyptian readership will be able to read a Latin script, especially in English, since this language is widely taught in Egypt, hence the audience expectation. Another motivation might be for the writer to evoke concepts that would otherwise be perceived as highly inappropriate in their own culture, whether it be phrases referring to sexual practices that might be considered immoral, or interjections that could be felt offensive. In this last example, no translation or definition is given in Arabic, which means that the reader is expected to be able to read the Latin script to fully understand what is written. This phenomenon is part of a hierarchical relationship described by Louis-Jean Calvet, whereby users of writing systems like Arabic have a tendency to bigraphism, their system plus the Latin alphabet, whereas the users of the Latin alphabet have a tendency to monographism. Embedding Latin script within an Arabic matrix presents several challenges, two of which I will discuss in more detail. First, directionality conflicts with text direction shifting from right to left in the matrix to left to right in the embedded text. For short integrations, which constitute the vast majority, the issue is limited, as they likely naturally follow the saccadic movement of the reader's eye, which roughly jumps from one word to the next. One may hypothesize that the word superiority effect, where people have better recognition of letters presented within words, compensates the change of direction. The fact that here spaces in the Latin script have disappeared, turning true self and everyday self into one written word, one graphic word each, that are still legible, points to such an explanation. For the rare instances of long or repeated integrations, reading is likely slowed by the eye's need to locate the beginning of the new string, especially when it includes a line break, which thus moves the beginning of the line leftward. Further studies are needed to confirm this hypothesis. One can even find an example of a change of script for every line, turning the text into a modern bootstraphism. In the end, directional conflicts do not seem to pose such a challenge, either for the writer, thanks to the Unicode bidirectional algorithm, or for the reader, as long as the embedded text does not extend too often onto another line. A second issue is the transition between the more rounded Arabic cursive script and the Latin script that appears in the form of block-based scripts, block-based types, sorry. The simplest solution is to place the sequence of Latin characters between two spaces or between a space and a punctuation mark, such as a comma or a period. The solution often adopted is to insert the sequence of Latin characters between an opening and closing pair of punctuation marks, either quotation marks or parentheses. These marks are often used in Arabic to frame a proper noun, as capital letters are unavailable. This allows for a clear separation between the two scripts. However, the cursive nature of Arabic necessitates contact between the two scripts, particularly when the sequence of Latin characters is treated as part of speech, most often a noun preceded by the article el. A kashida, or tatwil, is placed to the right of the sequence of Latin characters and to the left of lam to give it a left-linked aspect. An even more advanced stage of entanglement appears when the sequence in Latin characters is linked to the second person conjugation prefix t. As with any verb which integrates the Latin script, this integrates the Latin script into an Arabic morphological paradigm. In this specific case, entanglement between scripts reflects deep entanglement between languages and cultures. So this is a very specific phenomenon where the Latin script is turned into a verb. The integration of the Latin script into Arabic thus appears to lead to a very high level of entanglement. Technical solutions, such as the Unicode redirectional algorithm, make this all be easier for the writers who can count on a readership that has some proficiency in both scripts. It is difficult to say whether this foreshadows a greater intrusion of Latin characters into Arabic text, but it illustrates the challenge that non-Latin scripts face relative to the widespread adoption of languages using the Latin alphabet, particularly English. For now, ingenious solutions are being implemented to connect these different scripts. This startling juxtaposition of two scripts seems to be well worth the effort for writers and should therefore encourage further research to discover all the implications. Thank you very much.
Very much. Any question? Yes.
I have two questions.
Can you come here so that they can hear you also?
So my first question, so Arabic, Egyptian Arabic, is it a dialogue or it's an actual, because the examples you showed us, it feels like it's an official printed.
They're published books, printed and sold in Egypt.
Yeah, but it maybe you in linguistics you understand more than me, but is it like a dialogue? In my understanding, I thought
dialects.
Egyptian is dialogue, but it's not like specific language alone.
She means a dialogue between people.
Yeah. So if it's dialogue, why they have their own like letters? That's my first question.
Okay.
My second question is when they use the za and ja when they're talking in Egyptian, like dira, zira.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you studying this?
Yes, that's what I'm studying.
Voices there.
So yes, the Egyptian Arabic is the spoken language. So or used in dialogues, maybe that's what you mean, or in everyday life. And that's what you have in every Arab country where people speak a vernacular type of Arabic. And they learn at school NSA, modern Standard Arabic or classical Arabic. But then in Egypt, people, and in other places, but there's a long tradition in Egypt of writing in the vernacular, in what is supposed to be the spoken language, but they do write it, and then they adapt. They have to adapt because the differences are phonemic, and they are also there's semantics in terms of vocabulary. Phonemic because they don't pronounce, as you said, the dental the, so they either replace it by the, like dira, the arm, or by z, like I won't find an example right now, but you have examples. You have the same with the voiceless dental consonant, and which is replaced by t or by s. So that's then they do use, well, either they use the t letter in Arabic, or they keep the Arabic th or the letter, for example, but still pronounce it as they do in Egyptian Arabic as s or z.
It would be interesting if you compare it to another dialogues in the Middle East, like Lebanon,
yes,
area, because they have the similar.
Well, yes. Well, I concentrate on the written aspect of these dialects, and so I mentioned Martin Michalski and his study on Moroccan Arabic. So there are also aspects of the written language, or the spoken language, that are transcribed in the written language, with several rules, but it's all there are no rules yet. So it's well, yet or whatever, but it's still a fluid situation where people write according to how they feel.
Question? Yes.
I have a question, maybe that's very simple and very naive. So
Go ahead.
if we compare the disturbance of changing reading sequence, we compare this disturbance from Latin, from the external word, and from reading the numbers. Are they equally disturbing?
Yes, that's a very good question, because even in Arabic, the numbers it's a different direction. So the text is written from right to left and written and read from right to left, but numbers are read from left to right. For example, even dates like 1926, so the one will be on the left, and so they already have, in some way, this habit also of changing directionality, so that may help in embedding Latin character words. So that, I don't know if that answers your question, but your remark is very very clever. Yes.
Its sequence of Latin reading is not as unnatural as what we have imagined.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. You're right.
Well, actually, I don't agree with what you say about numbers, because they will write it as we write it, but they will pronounce it from right to left. They will start with the 6 and then the 20 and then the 900 and then the
That's
1000.
true for the until from 21 or 11, we'll say, to 99, as in German. But that is, they will say 5 and 20 for 25. But then they will say 100, 5 and 20 for
Okay.
100,
So it's
125.
still going.
Yes, so that's why I said
It depends what is it. So if it's like a phone number, you write it, you will say it from left to right.
Okay.
But if it's date, like today is 28, so you start with the day and the month and the year. So from right
yes.
to left.
So the day in the month, yes, will be 8 and 20. Or today we are the 5th and 20th. Yes, 5 and 20, 25.
Well, I have a very short question. Can you go 2 slides back
Can I do this?
and another slide? Yes, here. Is this English T a solar letter or a lunar letter? Will they pronounce a true or al true?
Yes, well, I would have to be checked. That's true, but it's supposed to be a solid letter. That is, there's assimilation.
So the lamb will
The lamb is
disappear.
not pronounced, but the T would be double. Yes.
A true.
But then even in Arabic, this is one example where Arabic is not is not written as it's pronounced, which is quite rare. And here we have the shopping, for example, and they would probably say a shopping. For that is they would these 2 letters in fact would not be pronounced, and this would be double shopping.
Yes, but we know that that one is solar, but this one.
This it corresponds to t. That is the this letter here, which is its phonemic value. Then it is a solar letter. So yes, it would be. But again, it wouldn't appear. It wouldn't show in Arabic, because this is one example of where Arabic does not transcribe the pronunciation. One rare example.
This is a nice example for you, because here, for example, this lamb, because of that S, will disappear. Okay, so the I has to go, before even pronouncing the lamb, the I has to go there. and then decide I don't pronounce the lam and then start with social as social.
Or recognize alif lam as one letter. That, okay, I read this as a particle, and then my brain processes, okay, I will see the start of the next
No, you don't read the lam because you don't know if the lam will be pronounced or not.
That's-
In this case, if it's an S, the lam is not pronounced. If it's a B, the lam is pronounced.
Yes, indeed. So therefore, that particle I should process later after I read. the number.
Yes, exactly.
Some, just to precise, some people writing in Wikipedia Moroccan Arabic, some people don't write Alef Lam for the article and they put the shadda here, and that's the real pronunciation. But it's not the way, that's how it should be written to reflect to transcribe the real pronunciation. So some they do it in Wikipedia Moroccan Arabic, for example, but this is not the way you're supposed to do it in MSA, obviously, and it's not done even in Egyptian Arabic. I haven't found this.
Okay, so
Thank you very much.
much.